What's up guys, Larry Chen here. We are at the 2019 SEMA show. We are at the Toyo Tread Pass and I am here with my buddy Rico.
Hello.
Hey, so we kind of have a funny story about how we met, right?
Yes, we do.
So back in, I think it must have been what, 2012?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, so 2012, Von Gittin Jr. was nice enough to let me borrow his RTR Mustang.
The RTR.
Double down, which that thing was so cool, it was on air. I took it to Pebble Beach and I took it to Car Week and I was driving around making a lot of noises, you know, what Mustangs do. I parked there, I would go to gas stations, I would air down next to Lamborghinis, Ferraris, Paganis, whatever. And it was just so funny to me that I brought this really loud and proud Mustang, but I actually saw you parked on the side of the road, right?
Yes.
And then I'm like, hey, wouldn't it be cool to park the Mustang next to a couple other cars? He had a really badass GTR, and the R35 was really hot back then.
Yes, it was.
So I parked next to him. You guys know how car guys are. We hit it off right away. You know, we're having fun. But what we did was we kind of created a meet. So we started like waving down people as they were driving by. So pretty soon, I don't even know how many cars we had, but it was just so fun. It was like a true California car culture moment, right?
Yeah, what was so beautiful about that event, Larry stopped by to ask me, he's like, what are you doing? There's nobody here, there's no food stand, there's no car show. What are you doing on the side of Laurel's Grand? And I said, I'm picking fights. With who? With everybody. We had friendly competitions with the Aventadors, with Ferraris, with everything, but the part that came out in the article that we talked about, it was a McLaren 12C MSO, super rare. The guy was from France, he imported it in, he went by us, and I hopped in the car and chased him down. We had fun, we went back and forth up Laurel's Grand.
While we had a lot of good times back then, I want to talk about what you have here. Probably one of the craziest AE86 builds I've ever seen. I'll tell you what, I've traveled the world. I've shot so many 86s.
That's major.
I had a chance to shoot an 86 with 32 miles on it. It was a brand new one. The story is that he built 12 of them for Toyota for rally, and then they gave him one more just to keep. And he's never driven it. It still has the plastic on it and everything. So I've shot everything. I feel like in terms of 86s, this, you took it to another level.
This is a 1984 Corolla SR5. I know, why didn't you do the GTS, or why didn't you get the big one? I have a 1985 Corolla GTS street car, and at that time I needed parts. And it was less expensive for me to buy a whole shell, and this is the shell I bought. I actually paid $400 for this body, and the history of it is that I bought it in the Santa Cruz Mountains from a young person. He had it sitting out in the woods with rat infestation, with smell of urine for 8 years it sat. I went and bought it from him. I used the parts I needed, rated from it, and it sat in my backyard for 4 years. So 12 years outside.
The elephant in the room is, of course, the beautiful, absolutely amazing engine bay. And you have the Beams motor in there. So tell us about the motor package.
So what I did is that I wanted to keep it true. I went with the Toyota Gen 5 blacktop, the Beams motor. I'm a huge fan of the guys in Japan doing the clean engine bay with the black top, blue tops, the 20 valves. But I'm trying to beat my friends in Japan by doing the clean Beams engine bay. What I'm trying to accomplish is be the first guy to do a really clean engine bay. The rest of the car is race, but we're talking about the motor. This is something personal that I really wanted to achieve. I didn't want any wires to show. We wanted the radiator to be tucked under the front. We went with the 20 valve ITBs. And this is what we have on display.
This car, he actually built with his own money, barely any sponsorship at all, right? Yes, so can we talk about that a little bit? Is that a public thing that you are allowed to talk about?
Yes, I can talk about that.
So how much money did you spend on this build?
$100 billion.
It's about $100,000.
$100,000 on an 86. Think about that. So when you guys complain about the drift tax on these AE86s, you can thank Rico over here for that. Yeah. So, all right, so the engine is amazing. So have you had a chance to dyno it?
We didn't have a chance to dyno it, but it does run. I can drive it. It does rev. We actually, today is the middle of SEMA. At the time we're doing this interview, we actually had it dynoed on the laptop on Friday. We did it on Thursday and Friday, so the car does drive, it does run. The main mission was to do the parade and to be able to do SEMA Ignited. The ideal motor, of course, is to have the Formula Atlantic, right? The $20,000, $40,000 motor, super expensive. Below that would have the F20C S2000 motor, and I used to be an S2000 owner, 240 horsepower. But the F20C motor and tranny will run you about $5,000, $6,000. Runner-up number 3, beams. I bought this motor for 900 bucks.
So you save money on that stuff, and you save money on the chassis. Where'd all the money go?
So, really quick, the stock beams is 205 horsepower. I believe it's 7,500 to 8,000 RPM. With the 25 IATBs, I'm hoping for 220. So anything close to a Formula Atlantic power, anything close to F20C power is great. So that's the goal. That's what I have in the background of my mind behind doing the swap.
That's awesome. So tell me about the body.
So the body, miraculously, after sitting in the woods for 12 years, the body actually was in very condition. I'm a huge fan of watching N2 racers, and I found this N3 style kit. The kit is by Custom Garage Speed. Through hard work, I found someone to communicate with them. They were able to find the mold, and they made a kit for me. This kit is from Japan. It's not a knockoff. It's not fake. This is legit. And by doing the kit, we're able to run 15 by 10.5 in the back and doing 15 by 9.5 in the front. This is what you call the N3 style. Usually the N2 will only go halfway of the fender, similar onto the rear. This one goes much higher, but it's still similar to the traditional N2 style kit in the famous racing series in Japan. Right? Remember Tsuchiya doing the N2 series. So I really fell in love with that style. I got the kit down. I had the whole car completely media blasted. I had the whole body stitch welded, full welded cage, and after that, we put my color on it. And I have about 4 cars with this color. This is my custom gold.
I love gold.
This is not a color code from some Aston Martin for some Lamborghini, some Jaguar. I really don't believe in that. I believe every true car builder should create their own color code. You're already displaying your own personal style. Why not put your own color? Yeah. This is my own color code that we created. We created a special color just for SEMA. We enhance the darkness of the gold. We apply gold flake, but to be even more poppy, it has a second layer of diamond flake on top. And that's what gives it that pop. And this is my color. The inspiration of the color, racing. I'm a student of car culture. F1, John Player, historic racing gold. That is what the inspiration of this racing gold is. And we can talk more of how I've used it on other cars, but that is the inspiration.
It's beautiful. So let's go to the back here. What is this?
So what it is, I'm inspired by everything. I'm 41 years old, I'm 80s baby. I remember the Mustangs, when they fuel up, you open up the license plate, and that's the idea.
Oh, that's so cool.
So it'll drop, I'll have the license plate with the spring, it'll drop down, and I'll fuel in.
That's pretty cool.
It's really trick, but that is the inspiration. It's not a Japanese inspiration. That's from classic Americana.
But it looks great.
I love it. Isn't it nice?
That's so cool.
Thank you. I think that visually your car should be cool, but if it doesn't have the sound to back it up, it is not 100%. You can't see the car when you're driving it, right? You're inside of it. You can feel it and you can hear it. So hearing it is part of the package for me. I like to drive the cars at higher RPM because you don't know who's ever going to come over and say, hey, let's go. So I love that. I love the sound. It's straight pipe, 3-inch all the way back with the custom headers, no cats, no nothing. When we pull this thing in for SEMA, we put people on notice, and during the parade, it's going to be awesome to hear.
That's awesome. So tell me about the interior.
So the interior, what we have here is a full welded cage, no bolt-ons. I do like having the secondary A-pillar. Had the door cutouts for this style. The reason why, so I could have my crossbars a little bit out, giving me side protection, but also giving me more room. Similar to the outside, this had the full paint treatment. I am 6 feet 2 inches. And when I want to go to the track, I need to be wearing a racing helmet. So actually we cut the floors to drop the seats. And I want to say we probably dropped it about 4 inches. When I sit in this car, I have more room than my 240SX. I have more room than my 911. If you're tall, cut the floors. We went with the Bride Zetas, classic Takatas. Hey, I am a fan of JDM. Run the Takatas, run the Brides. We went with the solid shaft for the steering. We're running the limited edition ILIS and 100s steering wheel. This is the first edition. That was cool for them to participate with me. Custom made shifter. Also, what's important, what I've learned is that of what you see of electronics and what you see of the outside, I have learned that I love the Japanese style. I love the old cars. But sadly, I don't love anything inside. It's over 30 years old. Old electrical connections, old joints, they break down. There's nothing worse than having a cool car and being broke down on the side of the road. So this time, I have the new Link ECU harness for the motor, and then with Marcus Fry Racing, we built an entire new body harness. And this is my central command.
It's really hard to kind of pull off the no dash look, but I feel like you've really gone out of your way.
I was gonna do the traditional rally dash, you know, the black dash, small, simple. But after the guys started doing the tilting pedals, doing the brake lines, doing the support for the AIM digital cluster, I said, this is too cool.
Yeah.
I don't want to hide the workmanship of my guys. Let's do no dash.
And honestly, a lot of builds that you see, even here at SEMA, a lot of these wires aren't finished and clean for under the dash look, versus what you have here, everything is so finished and so clean.
USB for the phone.
Oh, that is so cool. I mean, even everything like the reservoirs, the fuses, even where the battery is, all of that is very finished. I love the little plate here. Is that from Technotoy?
Yes, it is.
Like those kind of things really kind of set off the interior. I love it so much. So what are you actually going to use this car for?
So I don't do any drifting. I set up all my cars for grip. My fun time when I have time, I do love driving in the mountains. I do love the grip style. So this is, once again, I'm emulating my envision or my impression of the N2 style, and N2 is used for circuit racing. So the whole car has the treatment of a race car, 100% new equipment. So yes, this car is perfect for autocross, for time attack, for racing, hill climbs, that kind of work.
But the point is that even though it's a race car per se, it's clean enough. Like everything's so finished.
It's registered.
Yeah.
It's smogged and it's insured.
So like all the gussets, everything in terms of the cage, and also it's running a fuel cell.
Yes, sir.
This is as finished as it could get in terms of a race car.
The comment I have about that is I want young builders to know, if they ever go to the racetrack and look at race cars, like you said, Larry, you're fully knowledgeable about race cars. They look like this. Why? When the race car driver comes into the pit, we want to be able to see the wires. I want to see the problem. I want to be able to fix the car as soon as possible and get the race driver back into the competition. If the car is in bad condition, not all one color, poor wiring, that car is not going to win a race. And I think it's a poor excuse or misinformation that people think race cars are these missiles or these weekend, not complete units. That's not true. And that is one of the motivations for me, showing this that, hey guys, I'm not a race car driver. I do not say I have any accolades like that. But hey, this is what I see when I go to Laguna Seca. This is what I see when I go to Car Week. They look just like this. Originally, the Corolla GTS has the shocks with the springs on the solid axle. So we did away with that, and we're running actual coilovers. We're running the annex suspension. Happens to be designed by a local 86er in the Bay Area from Battle Garage. We wanted something that can be used for competition use, streetable, but that's what we did. These cars are not cheap anymore. Getting parts is very difficult. It's an SR5, so it's not really, if I had a GTS rear end, I probably would have left it in. Purchasing a GTS rear end is just too expensive. So what I did is I went with the Ford 8.8. I had it shortened. I went with T3 to get all the hardware, and actually I'm able to run the same suspension arm equipment from an 86, but it's all bolted to my solid Ford 8.8. All the suspension in the front is all brand new from T3 as well. All solid, no rubber bushings. So I feel everything, but just like race car, I gotta bring it in every 2 months and do a nut and bolt check.
So tell me about the wheels and tires.
So graciously, of course, we're at the Toyo Tire Tread Pass. So we're running the Toyos. There are 888s. With the wheels, we went with the Work Equip 40s. And these actually are the limited edition smoky black face. This actually is the last set that Work had. I dealt directly with Work Japan, with Pepino-san, JC, the sales and marketing director, and they saved me one set. And actually, you can't even get these Work Equip gold caps anymore. I don't know where you found them.
I'll tell you what, man. I've interviewed a lot of people for Hoonigan Autofocus, and I can't tell you, like, you're so enthusiastic about your car. You love it so much, and you know, you have quite the car collection. You have RWB, you have all of this other crazy builds, but the fact that you can basically fall in love with something like this so much and enjoy it so much makes me feel good, because you are one of those guys that are trying to help keep car culture alive, and it's super cool to kind of see these builds out here at SEMA. Just not so long ago, you wouldn't be able to see anything like this at SEMA. When I first started coming to the show, it was just nothing against any other kind of cars or car culture. There was just nothing like this, you know? So to see these kind of builds very prevalent and also kind of turning heads makes me feel good. So thank you so much again.
I'm humbled. Thank you so much for your time. Larry, thank you. Appreciate you stopping by.
That's a wrap.
I love gold. The look of it, the taste of it, the smell of it, the texture.